I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
This is Fish Jelly.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. Good. How are you?
Okay. We're recording this Saturday evening.
Yes.
Because I'll be busy tomorrow. We usually record Sunday mornings to make sure everything is fresh. So hopefully this won't be stale. Hopefully some major event doesn't occur between the hours of...
Somebody very notable is going to die tonight.
Oh,
okay?
I just jinxed it.
Ooh.
Well, okay. If someone dies between 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturday, March 29th, and the following day.
Whatever. We'll just get him on. It's a rolling basis. We'll get him on the next one.
Oh, gosh. You know I'm superstitious. Anyway, there was a big announcement.
There was?
Yes.
What was it?
Last week, Tyler Perry announced that he was kicking off the Dream Collective.
For short filmmakers.
A program designed to identify and cultivate the next wave of filmmakers. He had posted a video about it saying that for a long time, it's been in his heart to create a program where he could take what he's learned in this business and share it with others.
Well, let's hope that he didn't create the standard operating practices.
Just give them the money. I was trying to be positive, but of course it's like, I would hope that you're not involved in teaching people how to make films. But of all the shit I talk, which created the 5 on the Blackhand side segment, which to date, I think you've called out like over 40 Black filmmakers.
Sure.
And the list continues.
The list continues.
In response to everyone trying to constantly like defend Tyler Perry as like a great filmmaker.
And I'm also only focusing on filmmakers that are alive.
But I have also said that I really applaud what he's been able to accomplish. And I have been complaining, as many other people do, that they wish that he would help others, because as a business person, him cultivating other creatives would only be better for his brand.
Exactly.
He can produce the shit, make the money.
Well, exactly, because at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with creating shitty soap operas. I mean,
no, there's nothing wrong with making money.
White people have been doing that for years.
Yeah,
but,
it's just like, can we dip outside the TP pool? Because clearly you just keep recycling the same shit. But getting back to the positive, it seems like now he's doing it. So basically,
baby steps.
So to like this first wave is going to be, so the application process, people can apply, and they have like all of, or like, I think the application process is like mid-April till the end of April, but they're going to go through these submissions, choose 100 finalists, do virtual sessions to then come up with 10 finalists who will then meet with like the core team and be selected. And out of the 10, 5 are going to be awarded the grand prize. And what that means is they get to participate in a 10-day hands-on training workshop. They each get $30,000 to make their own short film, and they get access to Tyler Perry's Below the Line crew, and his studio production system. So they're going to be set up for success. So I have to say that is, this is definitely what I've been wanting to hear from him.
Sure, that seems a lot of rigmarole for a short, though.
Well, I mean, I don't think you're going to give someone $30,000 and go through all this.
But wait, how many people get $30,000? 5?
5.
Please, that's a lot of jostling.
Well, no, I mean, well, what do you mean? So they have an application process. They're going to go through all the applicants. They're saying that they're going to whittle those down to 100, give all those people a chance to have a second look. And then from the 100, they're going to pick 5 grand prize winners.
And who's they? Tyler?
I know that the person running the program is someone who I think it's like the former president of the Motion Picture Academy.
I don't know. It just feels like a lot of it's like applying to screenwriting labs. It's just like, ugh.
I think that whatever. This is definitely a step in the right direction after all my complaining.
Sure.
I am glad to see that I love that he's doing it his way. So I want to encourage, like, if this is how you want to do it with the rounds or whatever you need to do to make it your thing, do it your way. I did think that while his talk sounded like, okay, girl, after 20 years, now you want to do this.
Well, you also haven't learned much.
Well, that,
about making a good
aside
film.
from all the shadiness, it just sounds like he's acting like now he has the opportunity. You've been a billionaire for a while. You've had a studio for a while. You've had complete control. In fact, you've been saying in that documentary, you even said that the key to your success has been you knew from day one that you need to have control of your projects. So
Sure.
It seems like you could have started this a long time ago, but
well, you know something about commercial aspects of the industry, but he has learned nothing about film as an art form.
It sounds like that he's not going to be teaching these classes. He's going to have outside people.
When would he have time for that? He has to write 15 movies while during the time it takes a class to enroll.
Well, you keep dragging me to this low place. I was trying to be complimentary that he's moving in the right direction. So I thought that was nice to hear, finally.
Sure.
Okay.
We'll see if it's lip service. I thought there was a bigger announcement than that this week. But
all right. Next, I wanted to talk about these kids running around selling chocolate. Like
now?
Yeah, okay. Just like, well, because it's these kids with it's the same box of chocolates, those cheap ones. They have 3 different kinds, like the ones that have the Rice Krispies in them, mm-hmm. or the almonds. I think sometimes there's caramel or just a pure milk chocolate. Mm-hmm. And these kids who are usually like pretty young, like under the age of 10, mm-hmm. they walk around with these boxes in like larger retail spaces like malls or whatnot. And it's usually late, like after dinner. Mm-hmm. And they're just walking up to...
You got to catch people when they're drunk and guilty.
Where are their parents? Who thinks this is a good idea? And why... To me, I know people are going to be so mad that I'm saying this, but to me, it's like feeding pigeons. Like, ooh. You cannot, this is not appropriate, because I've seen people, I don't know if they feel guilty because it's like, oh, this kid, or they're trying to foster like entrepreneurship.
100% yes. Mm-hmm.
These kids do not need to be out here at 9:30 at night without their like adult. Where are the adults?
Well, you and I relatively recently, we were accosted in a restaurant by a kid, and after we went out, we were driving away, we saw the adult they were with, and there was a gaggle of other children. So this person was sending these kids in.
I just think it's a weird hustle. It's also very disruptive. They're not just standing in front of a business. They are like walking into the restaurants. Like I'm seated at my, like in the dining room. Mm-hmm. And then there's some kid there just like walking right up to me. Like, hey, buy some chocolate. What? Or the reason I wrote this down is because I was sitting in my car, because I like to go get coffee and just sit in my car and get on my laptop and work. Mm-hmm. And it was late. Because I was trying to get caffeinated before I go to the gym one night when it was pretty late. And this little boy just walked right up to my car and like tapped on the window. And you know me and my car and fingerprints. So already I'm like, oh my God. No, his little black ass didn't just put his hands on my window. And then it's like, I look at the time. Mm-hmm. And
timestamp.
Note the time. It is too late for these kids to be out like this. And then they were walking. There was an open air restaurant next to where I was parked, and the 3 kids walk in there and start walking around, and then security was trying to remove them, and they're kind of causing a scene. It's embarrassing to me. There are other ways to foster entrepreneurship. There are other ways for these kids.
This has nothing to do with entrepreneurship.
You pretending that you're selling chocolates to support some organization, and then the rare occasion when I'll actually ask for like secondary information, it's like, What are you asking me right now? Because clearly you're just selling this chocolate to make money.
Get the money in the hand. Yes.
Anyway, moving on.
Girl Scouts. No.
I was introduced to a term I'd never heard before, but it's called askshole. So like asshole, except ask. And what that means, it refers to people who like to just ask you questions only because they want to hear you talk about themselves. And I realize that I know a lot of assholes.
Okay.
And I often get engaged by assholes who are just like you're just engaging me because you want my attention and you want to talk to me about something. And it's like, and I get like, there are people out there who engage me. I get engaged a lot from people who listen to us, and I don't know these people except that they listen. I'm not necessarily talking about those people. I'm talking about people I've actually met and who I know. And then I realize and I didn't realize this just when I heard this term, but knowing that there's a term to describe them, I kind of love that. Yeah, you're engaging me.
Why do you think I want to know about your 100-year-old grandmother and the restaurant she opened that's been inherited by your siblings? And then now that your cousin is sick with kidney failure and you have to step in and be like, yes, shit like that happens all the time.
So some of you might be assholes, and you need to ask yourself if you are that, because
you can't tell me about your grandma and her restaurant if you don't know my name.
Well, but yeah, so it's like you're just trying to engage me to talk to you more about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fun. That's not.
Yes. Okay. Well, now I'm glad that those people have been...
I'm supposed to be interested in wanting to hear about you.
That have been...
It can't be that you are interested in me hearing about you.
A clearly defined character trait.
All right. Will Smith has a new album.
Oh.
Album.
That came out?
Yep. It came out last week. It's called Based on a True Story. I listened to it front to back.
Is track number 1 called Slap Them Bitches? Because...
the opening track, he's talking about the slap.
Oh, of course. Well, there, see... What's the song title called? What's the track called?
Well, it's like an interlude.
Oh.
But he does rap about it.
Rap. He's rapping. Okay. Is he also not using foul language?
No, he actually is using the F word a lot. It was kind of shocking.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But regarding the slap, he says, I heard he down bad. I heard he won the Oscar, but he had to give it back. And they only made him do that shit because he's black. Which is not true. He didn't have to give his Oscar back.
What?
He just wasn't allowed to go back to the Academy Awards for 10 years. But my overall impression of the album it's kind of whack. Because
you mean like all Will Smith albums?
Well, Summertime is
Welcome
Forever
to
Bob.
Miami.
That album I listened to a lot. Actually,
that album is okay, but he's corny though.
Well, but it's a great workout album because Will 2K, Getting Jiggy with It, Miami, those are like fun songs. They're very high energy.
Sure.
And so when I'm on the elliptical machine, like for 2025, when I drop my top 10 songs of the year, my Apple Music top 10, I think Will 2K is going to be on there.
Oh, okay.
Because it really is a good workout song. So I will say Summertime. I will say that Big Willie style album. I'm not going to pretend I don't like some of those songs. And then he had a song called Switch that actually features Queen Latifah's wife in the video. But
your old friend.
My old friend.
Ebony.
I've
met her.
Yes. So I'm not going to pretend I like some of his music, but he's always been known for being kind of clean and like,
yes, boring.
But this album is very, okay. So what's the vibe? It has a theme that I think is kind of like, cause there are several interludes that are like, he's like a reverend giving a sermon.
Oh no.
But it's like kind of comedic, like he's doing a bit. So that kind of weaves in like throughout the album. It's very aggressive, very like clapping back at all the things people have to say and how they don't know his life. And it's, and he's also using profanity, which is mainly like the F word and saying shit, but we're not used to that. Okay, my problem with it is that while the production value is definitely better than maybe like those guys who try to pass you their CD on Hollywood Boulevard.
That's a very low standard. Okay.
The problem is that it sounds very early 2000s. Oh. It sounds like something that Kanye might have recorded and then threw away. There's a lot of like gospel-y,
not Will Smith being behind the times. Come on.
Like he wishes he could make something that sounds like Jesus Walks, which is a song I love and still sounds good to me. But it's like, I feel like he's trying to make that kind of music, but it just sounds so dated. And then he has these people on, when the first song dropped, I think it's called The Art of Love or The Art of something. And it features Jaden. And people were making fun of it because he says something, if I recall correctly, like, I'm a Libra, but I identify as a Cancer, or something like that.
Ooh, yeah, that's cringe.
It's just really like, ooh. And
is it as bad as Lord singing Happy Birthday with her mom? That shit's corny too.
Well, I think we're used to Madonna being a little like, Grandma, stop that.
We are no longer.
But yeah, it just sounds kind of dated. I recall one track kind of trying to do that like mumble rap flow from like 8 years ago.
Oh God, yeah.
But then even that sound, Yeah, but even that sounds dated because that's like
Like,
so before the pandemic.
that was everywhere for like, what is he saying?
Right. He has one track where like there's some rapper on there who kind of sounds like that, and then he's kind of mimicking it. It is not what we needed. There's only, I mean, I listened to all of it, and there wasn't anything that I thought, oh, let me save that to my playlist. Like, but it definitely is not something we needed. He sounds very angry, like he has a lot to clear up. And I feel like the things that we really care about are this old weird ass relationship with Jada Pinkett and
I want a duet.
you slapping Chris Rock. And then it's like, you're just more rapping about how like people think you fell off, but you're still on top and that people don't know you. And okay, I still don't feel like I know you after listening to it. And you have these weird ass kids, but
Tom Cruise doesn't have to do that. Why are you doing it?
Yeah, I kind of feel like he's above it.
Yeah, like why do you need to do this? You're an Oscar winner and you've been around for what, 30 some years. Just make another movie, then make it a hit. Jesus.
Yeah, make a good movie. And then that's all we really need.
And stop talking to the press about all your dumb personal shit that no one really needs to know. Like,
although he did a live performance in Vegas, I think he's planning on, or he's considering going on a tour. So this was like
he's testing the waters.
And I will say, I mean, he is very dynamic. I mean, that's why he's an A-list actor, because he definitely can emote. But
sometimes, yes.
You know, I mean, he has a personality. He's funny. So I watched some of his live performance, and to see him on stage is fun when he was performing the songs we know. But this new shit, Shell, if it's like that time I saw Prince perform and he only did the stuff no one knows, like off his new album, and everyone's sitting there like
nobody has
antsy and worried, like I paid $1,000 and you're not going to sing Purple Rain. Oh my God. But anyway, moving on. I'm so embarrassed to say that I saw that Johnny Mathis announced his retirement. And y'all, I thought Johnny Mathis had passed. Oh. So I guess it's good that he's not dead.
We're glad he made that announcement.
But yes, I'm glad he made the announcement. And apparently he's retiring due to age and memory issues. So that's not great.
Sure.
He is 89.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a documentary about him.
That's fine. It's a fine time to rest.
And, you know, of course, I think everyone knows that he's gay, but he wasn't open about it for so long. And then I think he did come out like maybe 10 years ago, but he's so huge.
He did a cover of You Don't Own Me.
He's so hugely successful that I think he deserves like a really good, but you know, they're going to give him that same biopic treatment. Like, I just know he's not going to get what he deserves. But I grew up listening to Johnny Mathis Christmas. Was there a Christmas album that your parents played that you recall every Christmas?
Or every Christmas?
Always different?
Mariah Carey.
Oh, sure.
Jana would put on that. What else would she? Well, when I was little, I think I had Raffi's Christmas tapes. And Raffi, that singer for children.
Oh.
And also my memory is going to the Chipmunks Christmas tape. But yeah, I don't know. No, they had standards. I mean, I wasn't paying any attention to that shit because I never really had a reverence for Christmas music.
Well, we definitely spent a lot of time listening to Johnny Mathis over the holidays. Oh. Moving on to 5 on the Blackhand side, 5 black filmmakers who are not Tyler Perry and who probably won't qualify for his Dream Coalition. But who do we have first?
Channing Godfrey Peoples.
What do we know from Mr.
Ms.?
I am so sorry, y'all. Ms. Peoples.
Well,
Channing, I got thrown off.
It's okay. You were thinking of Channing Tatum, I bet.
Yeah. You know, he recently made a comment like, I'm never going to be fat again.
Oh.
But he was referencing that oh my God, there was something else I was debating on talking about. We'll wait till after this. Okay. But Channing Tatum had said that he's never going to gain weight for a role again because it was so hard to lose the weight.
I mean, sure. I mean, you're not getting any younger either.
I feel like those are words to like, you shouldn't say you're never going to be fat again, because I feel like that's guaranteed to bite you in the ass 10 years from now when you get all bloated.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Channing Godfrey Peoples.
We reviewed her debut, Miss Juneteenth.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And it's an excellent time to shout out that she has another project in the works called Otis and Zelma that is going to star, at least at this recording, John Boyega and Danielle Deadweiler.
Okay.
So yes. Next is kind of a juggernaut, really. Mr. Antoine Fuqua, who has thus far eluded my list, but I like him for the most part, even though I'm tired of these goddamn Equalizer films. Okay, with Denzel, I don't need any more of those. The first one was okay-ish.
That third one with him in Italy.
Oh,
Is that
stop
where
it!
he was, or France?
Yes, he was in Italy. Stop it, please.
That was a bit
And
much.
speaking of corny Will Smith, Emancipation. But Training Day is a contemporary classic. And of course, he did the first Has Fallen films with Olympus Has Fallen. But, if you dig back a little deeper, some interesting stuff would be The Replacement Killers with Chow Yun-fat and Mira Sorvino, and then Bait with Jamie Foxx. So yeah, I think he's consistently interesting, even though I don't love all his stuff. But and also he's still married to Layla Rashawn, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she's a favorite. But anyway, yeah.
We'll be talking about him in the Sorry to This Man section.
Who, Antoine Fuqua?
Yeah. But moving on, who do we have next?
Stephen Winter. Who
Ivy Winters.
I believe has only directed 2 films thus far.
Oh, not Chocolate Babies.
But do you remember Chocolate Babies?
I've seen it.
Yes. Oh, I had it on VHS because I was doing a paper on prostitution for a women's studies class, and I bought it on VHS. I don't remember why. And you and I watched it.
Oh, these look like homosexuals.
Yes. Don't you remember that there's this... it's either black drag queen or she's trans, talking about how she's mad because she has AIDS, but she's not thin.
Oh my God.
You don't remember that?
No, but that is so diabolically funny to me.
See? Restored your
I
memory.
need to rewatch Chocolate Babies.
Well, I think I still have it, but it's only on VHS. Maybe I've never looked for it elsewhere. Maybe it's available streaming somewhere now, but he also did a reenactment of Jason and Shirley, which is a reenactment of the filming of that very famous documentary, Portrait of Jason by Shirley Clark, which I believe I also watched with you, but that's like 2015-ish era now. But yes, both worth finding if you can.
Next.
J.D. Dillard, who I think I might have reviewed his debut, Slight, many years ago. Sweetheart is an interesting creature feature, and I was a little bit delayed to watching it, but Devotion, starring Jonathan Majors and Glenn Powell, is actually, I think, pretty well done for what it is.
Lastly,
Melina Matsoukas, who...
No relation to Jason?
That's Matsoukas with a Z. This is Matsoukas with an S.
My apologies.
But sounds like something you might order in a Greek restaurant, right? She directed Queen and Slim.
Yes.
With, what's her name? Jodie Turner-Smith?
Yep.
Who is embroiled in a vicious
and there's an
divorce
interesting
battle.
I forget, there's an interesting cameo in Queen and Slim, and I always forget.
Who are you thinking of?
Oh God,
my mind goes to Bokeem Woodbine, but
is that who I'm thinking?
Well, as the uncle,
there's someone in it who I go, oh, he's in it.
The other lead is Daniel Kaluuya, but
Flea.
Oh yeah, Flea.
And Chloe Sevigny.
Yes, she's got a weird little part.
But is that who I'm thinking?
I don't know. Bokeem's my favorite part of the movie, so
it might have been Bokeem, but I'm looking.
Anyway, to date, that was 2019 already, but yeah, those are my 5 to highlight this time.
Thank you for that. Okay, in the restaurant section, did you have anything you wanted to mention?
Oh, well, I was in DC/Virginia this week. Love DC. Virginia, they say it's for lovers, but it's also for slow drivers and long lights. I never need to step foot there again, if just for the traffic lights. God, that shit was frustrating. I hated it. Anyway, I did eat at a place that I thought would be hopeful. It was called Milk and Honey, and it was Southern comfort food inspired. The menu is making me salivate. I could not, and I was thinking like, oh, I'm going to get my little lunch and then order one of the desserts I don't have to keep in a fridge to bring home to you. And then I got this fried chicken sandwich, and that was not it. That was not it. It was not good. It was not for me.
What was wrong with it?
It was, when you get like the gristly bits.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
And it's hard for me to turn down a fried chicken sandwich on a menu. Like I'll have to be like, okay, I got to try something else. But I was like, oh, I bet this shit is good here. And I didn't. And that's far. And because of that, the nature of that sandwich, I did not get you that cake.
Oh,
That's how irritated I was.
damn.
Anyway, I ate it. I'm trying to think of what else I ate. Oh, something called Ford's Fish and Chips. They advertised some blackened scallops that sounded good to me, and I got them, and I ate at the bar because I was told that'd be faster service, and you could tell this was like at noon, and this was during the week, and there was a whole cohort of people that were drinking at noon a lot, and all of these older gentlemen from all kinds of different backgrounds just hitting on these women working behind the bar mercilessly, Bree and Driana or whatever the names were. Oh my God, the conversations I just had to hear waiting for my scallops was something else. But I'm like, these ladies want nothing to do with any of you people. Anyway, yeah, that's all I can remember off the top of my head in the time slip I just went through this week.
Wow. So I tried a place called Aguila Bakery, which is in El Sereno, and I stopped there because I was hungry and I was on my way to go see my mom, and then I wanted to bring her like a little piece of cake.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, oh, let me stop at this bakery. And they had a menu for food, and someone should have told me not to order this food because I didn't see a proper kitchen anywhere. So I don't know where I thought they would make this food. But the man who helped me, oh my God. So I ordered like 2 pieces of cake, and I don't even know where to begin. So I ordered the food, and I see pretty pictures on like a menu. So I asked for these things, and he looked surprised, like, you want that? And I should have known when he said that, like, don't get that. So he's like, okay. And it was 4 tacos.
Mm-hmm.
He goes into a refrigerator and grabs like this bag. It looked like a Ziploc bag that someone had shoved some shit in, and then takes it in the back. And I'm like, okay. And then I said, oh, they have a big sign outside that says tamales, and I love tamales. So, okay, well, let me get, pork and cheese. We don't have that. Okay, what do you have? We have like green chicken and red chicken. Okay. So I get those. Then the cakes. So while those items are being heated up or prepared, I don't know what he was doing with them. He grabs me the 2 slices of cake, and this man puts them on like a plate, like a paper plate.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, and this is not a restaurant where you can sit down. Like, you have to get in and get out. So I'm like, okay, I can't carry these like this, because then he also brings out the food, and all the food is on plates.
Mm-hmm.
So there are 5 plates with just open air food on them. And I'm like, well, can this be to go? This man, he got like like the paper boats.
What?
Like when you go to like
paper boats.
Like when you go to like food trucks and they serve you your food in like, it's like a paper plate, but it's shaped like a boat.
Okay, that makes me think of Pennywise the Clown, and we all float down here.
No, like it's like a box.
Okay.
like what your in and out would come in, except smaller, like a boat. Like it's not a full box. It's like it's like someone took a paper plate and curled up the edges.
Okay.
So he basically slid the food onto these paper boats, but they're still like open. And I like, how am I going to carry 5 of these? So I'm struggling.
Sir, where's the saran wrap?
Anyway, the food was garbage, mama. Those tacos, I didn't know what meat was in those tacos, but they were like, they tasted like someone had taken like the 99-cent tacos from Jack in the Box and dipped them in hot sauce and put them in the microwave. And then the tamales, my mom had opened them for me when I got to her house. They weren't cooked. Like the cornmeal was raw.
Oh.
I haven't been that disappointed in shit I bought.
What was the grade of this restaurant?
A.
Okay. Well.
Very strange. So we just threw everything away. But I'm telling this sort of not very exciting story to segue into our local news has a running list of restaurants that have been shut down since the beginning of the beginning of March. So this month.
Due to
vermin infestations.
Okay.
So many of these, I don't think we've eaten at any of these, and a lot of them are in like places we don't really go. But there were a couple that were surprising to me. A couple in Beverly Hills, but
Those people aren't clean if they don't have to be.
and then there are a couple in downtown, which downtown you see rats walking around. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, I saw rats all over DC. That's why I'm glad. We have a ton of stray cats on our block, and I'm like, that's why we don't see the rats.
But there are two things that surprised me. First of all, there are many restaurants on this list that were closed down that are located in the city of Rosemead. And my family lives in San Gabriel Valley, like El Monte, city of industry, Rosemead.
Mm-hmm.
So
did
that's concerning. And then the other thing is I know some homosexuals who listen to us who live in this area, Highland Park.
Uh-huh.
The Highland Park Bowl got shut down for a vermin infestation. And they're a huge venue. Because they're classified, they classify them by the capacity.
Sure.
Highland Park Bowl has a 150 plus capacity. So it's like one of the larger, their food services got shut down. So that's kind of wild.
I don't know. Like, my first job as a 15-year-old was working at a bakery deli in a small town, and vermin come in quick and they come in fast. I mean, and you would be surprised at the practices that people engage in to stay open, especially mom and pop places. But I mean, it's hard. The restaurant business is very hard.
It is, but you got to stay clean.
Ooh,
you can't feed people.
Die clean, white man from town.
Moving on, there was a story that I wanted to say. I should have said it on our Patreon during our RuPaul's Drag Race reviews, but I totally forgot. But the reason it's relevant is Glodine White, who's the estranged wife of Barry White.
Oh, did she?
One of the queens on Drag Race, Anya Nerve, RuPaul has told her more than once, you look exactly like Glodine. I think Glodine's prettier, but I read a story that, so Barry White died in 2003. And at that time he was in a long distance relationship with this other woman. So he was estranged from Glodine. He and Glodine had been separated since 1988. So at the time of his death, he hadn't been with Glodine for 15
but never divorced.
Years, but never divorced.
Okay.
So
update your beneficiaries, people.
So when he died, Glodine became the executor of his $20 million estate. So because he never took her off and wasn't divorced. But this other lady, Catherine, sued Glodine saying that she deserved the money because she was with him, and then cited the fact that they had a child together. Well, that case has recently been settled because the DNA test revealed that baby Catherine said was Barry White's is not his baby.
Ooh.
The drama.
Damn.
I live for shit like this. Isn't that messy as hell?
That is so well, egg on her face. My God.
Girl. Let me tell you something. I put up with your ass for this long. I'm getting something.
Well, yeah, I mean,
the new bitch ain't getting shit.
Glodine should do a solid and give her like a little bit. I mean,
Glodine, we don't know how Catherine treated Glodine.
But this woman didn't come correct. She probably
No, you lying on this kid.
She could have come and just said, look, I dealt with that man that
I never worked. I don't. Can you at least buy me a little house in Georgia somewhere?
Yeah, can you set me up? But whatever. I mean, there's a way to talk to people.
Okay, there's something in the sorry to this man section.
Tell me.
Well, two things.
Oh, God.
See, here we go. Nick is not open to...
I am. I'm just... I can have trepidation. No, I'm human.
No, that's your problem. You think...
Okay, just say it. Just say it. Stop demeaning me and just say it.
Okay. Apparently... the Antoine Fuqua film Michael, I erroneously reported that Halle Bailey is playing Janet, but those images that have been floating around the interwebs, that was a fan-made image, and so platforms were reporting it as her being cast, but that's not the case.
Damn.
I know.
Wow.
So
well, you wouldn't have known that.
So Halle Bailey is not officially cast as Janet. I don't even know if there was talks of her being cast. And still on IMDb, there is no one listed as playing the international superstar and pop icon Janet Jackson.
Can someone just not tell us? Please.
I want to believe that there's a gag. I want to believe
I
that
bet they might be sidestepping her altogether.
there's no way that.
You know how movies do?
Yeah, but a movie about Michael Jackson,
it
how
depends
can
on.
you not include his sister, who is like the most famous member of the family,
They could
aside
find a
from
way.
him?
They could find a way.
But y'all gonna have LaToya
And if they do that, that's
and
kind
Jackie and Tito.
that would feel really cheap, but I don't know.
But anyway,
Okay.
But I don't know what time period it, because I thought it goes up to the allegations. So
we can.
She was popular. I mean, she was at her peak when those allegations came. So it just seems so odd that they wouldn't include her. But anyway, I'm not going to go on because there's more news to come.
Okay.
The other thing in the section is we reviewed The Woman in the Yard. And there are a lot of comments about how we got the ending wrong. And, I don't like excuses. But I will say we did give all the information. So everything we say in the review is correct. That there are mirrored images, there are dream sequences, that at the end, like the name of the farm is, given to us. We just didn't put the pieces together that indicates that she in fact did kill herself. Oh, I should have said spoiler alert. Well, what should I do about this?
I don't remember what was said. I was we recorded that when I got back from my delayed flights, and I remember talking about the end, but I don't. Were we just not completely concise about?
Well, spoiler alert! If you haven't seen the movie, fast forward a bit.
Okay.
We speculated that based on the ending, that the main character does not kill herself, but a lot of comments say that based on everything, she did kill herself. Based on what people were saying and the fact that I watched the movie, I would also buy into that.
I thought that there was supposed to be ambiguous and open-ended, like we're looping back to the beginning with that scene, but from the film is almost a Mobius strip, really, because we see Daniel Deadwyler in the veil as the woman in the yard as well. Like I think it's supposed to be more ambiguous than definitive, but okay, sure.
Again, not to make excuses, but Nick and I both watched this movie in a theater separately in different states, and neither of us were that clear on.
I thought it was supposed to be purposely
and we
ambiguous.
even talk about, well, I specifically say that I'm a little confused with the ending, like that I don't understand where her kids came from. Because I do also, because people were commenting like, well, she did this and she did all the things that people say. We did say those things. So if you're listening to us recount the story, I guess you could assume one or the other. But as two people who watched the movie in a theater, paying full attention, taking notes, knowing we'd have to talk about it, it wasn't super clear to either of us that, yes, she did. But after reading the comments, I could see that, and actually that ending of her actually killing herself, I say in the review that I would prefer that because that is more subversive. So I'm not mad at it. But I think that, again, not to make excuses for the third time, but I think it's a testament to my problem with the movie, which is I think the storytelling is lacking.
Well, it's lacking in there several
because the ambiguity is kind of like, is this on purpose or you're just not good at telling a story?
Well, it's cutting some corners as well, I think, and that doesn't help establish a sense of control. But anyway, okay, sure, I don't.
Moving on to films released we didn't cover, The Penguin Lessons.
God, I got so many emails about covering this movie, and I had no interest, but Steve Coogan's in it. It's directed by Peter Cataneo, who I think we reviewed his last film, Military Wives. He's still best known for The Full Monty. I think something about a man that befriends a penguin. I don't know.
Next, A Working Man.
I do want to see this. Jason Statham. It looks very much like Wrath of Man that Statham was in for Guy Ritchie, but David Ayer, who's directed Training Day and several other, wrote Training Day. Antoine Fuqua directed that. David Ayer, since writing that became kind of a notable director. I remember kind of liking Sabotage with Schwarzenegger, but maybe I have to rewatch that now. And I think stumbled greatly with that terrible Suicide Squad film that he did. Oh, and then he did a film we both hated with Shia LaBeouf. What was that called?
Oh, where he's like an LA like drug dealer or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, what was that called?
It had a kind of an awkward title. Something about a tattoo artist or a...
Okay, now I need to know what it is.
The tax broker or the...
It's something like the tax. I'm looking at it now. Hold on. It's called the Tax Collector.
There you go. That was terrible. Anyway, David Ayer's back to getting a budget and a star. So Working Man sounds kind of good to me, and maybe I'll catch up with that this week.
Oh, it has a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, really?
The Tax Collector.
Oh, well, yeah, that's wretched.
Next, The Ballad of Wallace Island.
This I happened to catch the trailer for this. This looks terrible to me. But Carey Mulligan's a star, so I guess it automatically gets a lot of attention. It's directed by James Griffiths, whose film Cuban Fury back in 2014 with Chris O'Dowd, Nick Frost, Rashida Jones. I actually thought was kind of charming. This didn't look interesting at all to me, but yeah.
The Friend.
I got a screener for this, so maybe I'll catch up with this week. You had no interest, but I like Naomi Watts and I like Bill Murray. And it's directed by David McKeague and David Siegel, who are a pair of directors I like. Going back to their debut Suture and that Tilda, they remade that Max Ophuls film noir, The Deep End, with Tilda Swinton, which I still claim I need to rewatch that too, but I love. Anyway, that's based on a book by the same person that wrote The Room Next Door, that Almodovar. The basis for that Almodovar film. Anyway, that comes out this week and expands later.
Vietnam.
I saw this at Cannes. It's a little slow and a little dull, but very beautiful, and it's kind of a rare gay film.
I could say that about a lot of people.
Yes, but it's still worth a watch. It's better than most of the beautiful, boring people that you could assign that description to. It's Trong Min Quy. It was at Cannes. I think I saw it in a certain regard. It was in one of the sidebars. Anyway, worth seeing.
Lastly, Holland.
I saw a very early cut of this in 2023, I think. And it's finally coming out. It just premiered at South by Southwest, and Amazon Prime premiered it, I think, this week. Starring Nicole Kidman, who I love, but we just had a lot going on. In a perfect world, we probably would have covered this film, but I actually don't think it's very good. Errol Morris was supposed to direct it years and years ago, but it finally was ended up being directed by Mimi Cave, and when I saw it was called Holland, Michigan. But it's kind of a bizarro murder mystery type film, so it could be worth your time, especially if you like Kidman.
Projects of interest. I saw that Barry Jenkins is going to do a biopic about Ronnie Spector starring Zendaya.
I was so excited to see that news. I like Ronnie Spector.
Yeah.
I like the Ronettes. That Be My Baby is probably one of the most perfect pop songs ever recorded. It opens Mean Streets. It ends Barbarian. It's in Dirty Dancing. I love that song. And Ronnie Spector, I need to read her memoir still. So this is just a kick in my ass to get on that before, because, as time passes, and hopefully before I'm going to some film festival screening of this, I will have read that. But I'm very much aware of it and I want to read it. But I love Ronnie Spector, and that's very exciting.
And we all learned that Sundance is moving to Colorado.
That's what I thought you were saying was the big news this week, bigger than Tyler Perry's tidbit. But
I don't have any relationship to Sundance. Except that I knew that I would never want to go to Park City.
Oh,
I would like to go to Salt Lake City.
Well, you could. They had festival offsites.
No,
there.
I just want to go and see what's up. I want to apparently. You know what? Actually, maybe I will go to Salt Lake. It might be fun just to go. And I've just. There was a time when I lived in Minnesota where there were a lot of Salt Lake City gays who moved to the Twin Cities, working for AT&T.
Well, yeah, because there's not a religious cult that owns the state.
And I met a group of people, and I always thought it would be fun just to go because I knew so many Salt Lake people, and it seems like a beautiful place, geographically. But who knows when that will happen.
Well, I mean, you should go outside of the film festival because it's actually affordable. The things that the prices you have to pay to stay there in the winter with snowstorms, and the locals, no. Mm-mm. I did it for years. And I haven't been physically since 2019, and so 2026 will be the last year, and they're moving to Boulder. I've been to Boulder. That's where I had that incident with the Fuqua. So maybe
Incident. You talk about it like it was transcendent.
it kind of was, because Fuqua has never been the same. I should look up if that authentic Indian tea house is still there, but who knows? So I probably would like to check out
In Boulder, Colorado?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there are people in Boulder, Colorado listening.
I would. So I'll be curious to go back.
What is it called? The Indian?
I don't remember. I just remember that's what it was, because I was not in my right frame of mind.
If anyone knows of an Indian tea house in Boulder that has the best focaccia. So an Indian restaurant had focaccia?
I don't know. It was a tea house. That's all I remember.
So it wasn't Indian.
Please know this was circa 2016.
Oh, am I being problematic? Was it like an Indian server? And so now I think it's an Indian restaurant?
No, it was a young homosexual server who was white.
Where did the Indian come from? Did
That
I just make that up?
no, I thought that.
For
No.
all these years, I've been saying an Indian restaurant, and this is fully not an Indian restaurant.
No, I'm pretty sure it was.
Because every time I say it, I think, God, they have focaccia. But
It was a tea house that also served food. I think there was a differentiation between the what the brand is, and also they served some knockoff shit. I don't know.
anyway, Sundance is moving to Colorado.
Can't wait. 2027.
Okay, on our Patreon, we reviewed the movie Total Eclipse, which
Ooh.
I'll mention here as well. People say they like my voice. I'm so confused.
I love your voice.
I'm so confused why.
Like a
but,
sweet little bird.
But I think that's a fun little review.
Mhm.
And for people who don't know, Total Eclipse is a gay movie about two French poets played by a little white American boy named Leonardo DiCaprio and a British troll played by David Thewlis. So I don't know. But it was a fun movie to talk about.
Mhm.
And then, of course, we're continuing to review RuPaul's Drag Race season 17.
Mhm.
Praise be to Allah, there are no entries in the obituary section. Ooh, watch me get in trouble for saying that. But anyway, moving on. So the secret film this week was Nick's choice.
Yes.
And Nick chose the 2007 American romantic comedy drama film Broken English, written and directed by Zoe Cassavetes.
Mhm.
It stars Parker Posey and my sister-in-law's first crush, Melville Poupeau.
I think her first crush was Steven Dorff, but yes.
Oh, okay.
Not too many iterations after that.
I don't want to lie on her. Why did you choose Broken English?
It's my favorite Parker Posey performance, and I thought it was the right. And I haven't watched it since I watched it several times, probably since 2008, right before we started dating is the last time I watched it. So I felt like it was a relevant time to see it again.
What is this film about? Since college, Nora hasn't had much luck with men. Now in her 30s, she works in an NYC hotel going nowhere. That is until she meets Julian. So Parker Posey plays Nora,
Mhm.
and Melville Poupeau plays Julian.
Mhm.
But the story is really about Parker Posey living in New York City, single in her 30s. She works at this boutique hotel as like the customer service. She's like the guest services manager.
Yes.
So she's in charge of like front desk, concierge, the bell desk. And she doesn't really love her job. We see her go on a few crap dates.
Mhm. Well, we meet her going to a party celebrating the marriage of her best friend, Audrey, played by Drea De Matteo. Or is it Drea DiMatteo? Anyway, and who's marrying somebody named Nick. Oh, no. She's marrying somebody. Why am I forgetting his name?
His name is
Mark.
Mark, yeah.
And Parker introduced them because Parker was dating him.
So she's feeling very unlucky in love, very frustrating. We see her talking with her
Mother
and her homegirl, and they're like, bitch, you just need to get out there. You want me to set you up on a date, which both of them do, and they don't work well.
Mhm.
But I believe July 4th.
Yes.
And she has turned down an offer from her best friend to go to Miami. So she's just home alone, feeling sorry for herself, doing like meditations. When she decides, I can't do this and be here alone, I'll take the invite of a coworker to go to his party. So she shows up, and the coworker's a creep. But as she's leaving, a very handsome Frenchman, played by Melville Poupeau, says, hey, who are you? Where are you going? Why don't you stay and have a drink with me? They have a lovely night, which turns into a really lovely weekend where they just spend the entire time together. They never have sex. And at the end of his trip, because he has to go back to Paris, where he's from, he says, why don't you come with me? And she's like, boy, you crazy. I can't just go to Paris. It's also important to know Parker's character, Nora, she has anxiety issues. She takes medication, which is funny because she's popping pills like her character in The White Lotus. But she says no, and he seems upset. But it's important to know that in addition to being a very handsome man, he's extremely charming. He's extremely patient with her and very forward with her. Not like aggressive, but just like very clear.
I think that's where the meaning of the title might come in, because of the language difference, it forces her to have to articulate herself better.
Yeah, well, yeah, let's talk more about that. But she doesn't go. And then things kind of devolve because now she's even more miserable. I think she goes on one more shitty date. She ends up quitting her job. And her best homegirl is like, honey, this is not it. What are you going to do? I don't know. You know what? Because Melville left his phone number, why don't you go to Paris? I can't do that. Yes, you can. And her homegirl finds a way for both of them to go. They get out there, and Parker realizes she can't find the phone number. And this is, early 2000s. Like, it's not so easy to find people. So she feels stuck, but she's having a lovely time. In fact, she decides to stay for some extra days. She acknowledges, like, I have to come home because I don't have any money. But she decides to stay, and she has a couple of lovely experiences. And then we see her get on the train to go back to the airport to head back to New York City. And guess who she sees on the train? Melville.
Julian.
She approaches him. And him being him, he's very assertive and says, like, come with me. And he takes her to a bar and says, what happened? I really liked you. I gave you my phone number. Now you're here in Paris. You don't find me. What's up? And then she admits, I came here to see you, but I lost your phone number. Okay, well, I like you. You came here to see me. You found me. What's up? You gonna stay? And she says, yes. The end. Okay.
Well, he says, you're going to miss your flight. And she said, yes.
Right. I had never heard of this movie. I think that I had seen maybe a poster.
Yeah, I used to have a poster hanging in my first apartment.
And I think I probably collapsed that with Bad Education.
Okay.
Because I think they have similar-ish poster designs. And the naming is kind of similar. So yeah, I had no clue Parker Posey was in this. I don't know who Melville Poupeau is. So
you do.
From what?
I remember taking you to a film in 2007 at the Minneapolis Film Festival called Toward Zero, and we took my sister because he was in it. I think directed by Pascal Thomas was the director.
It would have been 2008.
Yeah.
Or 2000.
He was also the man romancing Léa Seydoux in the film One Fine Morning, which we both give a very positive review.
With Isabel?
No. With Léa Seydoux.
Oh, the one where her dad, like someone's in a nurse. They're trying to get
the degenerative.
Yeah, she's trying to get her dad to move from his apartment to a nursing home.
And Melville is the married man that she's having an affair with.
Okay, I thought this movie was very lovely off the strength of Parker Posey.
I think, as I said, this is my favorite Parker Posey performance, and it's not a comedy. It gives her the chance to step outside of caricature because she's a very funny person and I don't know. I find her captivating in this and effervescent and depressing and desperate.
Well, part of the problem is that she's so good in this movie that if it weren't for her, this would be a very, very basic, familiar story. And while I like this movie and I enjoyed watching it and I would watch it again, I do think that the pleasure was watching her and then, of course, Melville.
I think they have really nice chemistry.
Yeah.
You have a great cast of people in here too. Jenna Rollins, so it's directed by John Cassavetes' daughter Zoe, whose other sister Zan, Zan was the one that used to be married to Rick Ross, right?
Oh, that's the one?
I think so. I think it was Zan. And then, of course, their brother, who's done a lot more films as director, Nick Cassavetes. But yeah, Jenna Rollins plays Parker Posey's mother, and I think they have a really nice moment having lunch. Justin Theroux, Dana Ivy's character, Josh Hamilton, who played Parker's twin in The House of Yes, has a, I guess, integral moment. Michael Kelly from House of Cards. Bernadette Lafont, who at the time I watched this, I would have had no idea who that was, but she's an old French woman. She's the one that Parker delivers the package to in Paris, and they have kind of a weird little scenario. But I don't know. It speaks to a certain time of indie film that I think wasn't afraid to be more daring, because I think it feels like also a lot of 60s French films. Like this could have been an Eric Romer story, and those films I are revered today. But I think you were telling me that I haven't read anybody's review of this film ever, because it's just always had such a special place in my heart. But I think that with a little time removed from it, this feels very much like something that would have been celebrated more at some point in a different culture. I know Parker got an Indie Spirit nod, and so did Zoe Cassavetes. But it's like, I think her performance is so good in this; it was deserving of much wider acclaim. But again, that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to say, it's one of those films where as I'm watching it, it's like, oh, there's like an alternate version of this story that would make this so epic. And I think I'm hung up on that. Like how, and I know, like, once you're in production and once, like, you don't know the magic you have maybe until you start rolling. And then it's like, well, I can't just make a new movie when I already have this one planned and written.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it takes a really long time for Parker to get to New York or to Paris.
Mm-hmm.
It's like after the hour mark. And then I feel like the movie she really shines when she's in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish that the film would have opened with this awkward woman, Nora, at a party. And we could learn very quickly that she doesn't have the best luck with men. And then she meets this, charming French man. And he proposes something insane, which is like, come with me to Paris. And she talks it over with her homegirl. Maybe we see her go on another shitty date. And she goes, you know what? I'm going. And then the next hour, 15 minutes is her in Paris discovering herself and realizing that she, like overcoming some hangups and realizing what she really wants out of life. And because as it is, we spend an hour with this woman. Like you said, I think there is a lot of character development that occurs, which is what makes, I think, this film and Parker's performance so nice. But I think I would have preferred to see her discover that in Paris with more lively interactions. Because as it is, the first hour is, it's fun watching Parker, but it's also kind of sad and miserable.
Yeah, but I
don't mind that.
I kind of like that though.
But I think I preferred seeing her awkwardness and sadness in Paris, because I think the best scene in the film, probably the one that'll stick with me, maybe not the best, but the one that's sticking with me the most right now is when she's in Paris. She meets this older man at a bar. Mm-hmm. He kind of approaches her, and at first you're like, oh God, like it's just this old man trying to push up on this younger pretty lady. But then he ends up being a really nice man, and actually like listening to her. And they start drinking because he's buying her drinks, so she's being a little more vulnerable. And he gives her some really sweet advice. And then when he realizes that she's probably had enough, he says, let me get you a cab back to your hotel. He walks her out, calls a cab, gives her a hug, and puts her in the car.
And says, she's like, I don't think I'm going to forget you.
And I just thought, like, gosh, that was such a great moment. And I wish that the bulk of the film would have been this woman who seems lost and unhappy and anxious and insecure. having these experiences in Paris and realizing that she's kind of in her own way and that she doesn't have to, because a lot of the buildup in the beginning is like her mom is telling her, you, and then we see her visit with some of her parents' friends. When are you going to get married? Oh, you need to find a nice guy. When are you going to have kids? What do you do for work? All the standard pressures, which is what makes it feel so familiar.
Mm-hmm.
But again, as it is, I did really enjoy it. And Parker is so delightful in this role. She's such a weirdo.
She is, but
and I love it.
And I don't know, maybe it's saying that this is the kind of romantic drama comedy that probably speaks more to a gay man than it did the audience of women. It was it should have. But.
You know, I'm not. I don't fully relate to this character, but
I think at one point in my life, but again, it was in my early 20s, would have related more strongly to things she was saying, and now I don't feel that at all. But you know, the girlfriend that I saw this with reacted very strongly, I remember, to this characterization, especially the anxiety attack moment.
I'm going to get to my notes, but also I think the vibe I got from it was like, it does feel like it's giving like alt indie Sex in the City.
Sure.
Like a 2-episode arc, like a 2-episode storyline of Sex in the City if it were doing like indie version.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think the performance we got from Parker deserves something maybe a little more elevated than what we got. But again, I like this. So just going through my notes. Again, Parker popping them pills.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she is so good at playing these sort of neurotic, high-strung weirdos. Tim Guinea is the actor playing Mark, who is Parker's homegirl's husband. And I thought he looked exactly like if you mix Justin Trudeau and Hal Sparks.
Very odd mix. Mm-hmm.
But there's another Justin in this movie, Justin Theroux.
Mm-hmm.
And he's this famous actor who stays at the hotel Parker works in. And he's not throwing a tantrum, but he's kind of at the front desk complaining.
He's
like
being a douche.
He's not being the worst, but
he's still douchey.
As someone who used to work in a hotel, he's definitely
not the worst, but he's still aggravating.
For someone like that, what that character is being, he actually seems really nice, because usually people like that would be a nightmare. But you're right, he's not being the most agreeable. So Parker has to come down to assist, and she ends up giving him. She ends up solving his problem and escorting him to his room, and he asks her on a date, and she goes. And he's kind of charming. There are some red flags, but he's charming. And so of course Parker ends up sleeping with him in the hotel she works in and spends the night. So it's all wrong. But she's all excited and telling people like, yeah, I guess I'm dating Justin Theroux.
Nick Gable.
His character's name is Nick Gable. And so she's at her best homegirl's house and they're watching like Entertainment Tonight. And guess who's on? Nick Gable talking about his new movie. And then it's an ultimate face crack because the reporter's like, and Nick Gable is dating Sabrina Carpenter, his co-star. And the poor Parker, she's like, damn, and turns off the TV. Poor thing. I don't know, it looks very early 2000s, like digital.
Yeah, and I like the score by Scratch Massive, but it does feel of the period, but it fits though.
But I don't mind because I know people don't like the word nostalgic, but I didn't mind it. It definitely fits. The look fits the period. Mm-hmm. So it works for me. We only get one reference to the internet. She's on a website that looks like, it's like a dating site, which like of course
AOL chat room,
which of course makes it look very dated. Mm-hmm. But related to the cinematography, everyone's skin in this movie looks so good. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what they were doing, but shout out to whoever did the lighting and the makeup.
Well, or the cinematographer who did a lot of music videos, John Perozzi.
Okay. So Parker goes to this party with her at her coworker's place, and he's being kind of a creep, and she's over it. The way that she tries to leave the party is so funny because she's very awkward, but she's also very like clear about, well, I don't think she's very clear in general, but when she does or does not want to do something, she'll just say it in like an awkward way. So her character trying to leave this party is so funny because she's being so awkward. And then Melville Poupeau catches her in the elevator. And this is after her telling the host, like, no, I don't want another drink. I want to go. I'm tired. But then, of course, if Melville Poupeau asked you to have a drink, you're going to say yes. So then she's ordering vodka straight up with a twist. Like, damn, girl.
Oh my God, the drinking. It's like that's half the problem of making bad decisions.
Oh,
There's a lot
so
too much
she's
hard liquor.
drinking vodka straight up. And then Melville doesn't want the night to end. So they go to another bar, and this heifer orders shots of tequila.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much.
And so I was wrong about the cinematographer. He wasn't a music video. He wasn't doing those. The only thing I know from him is his filmography is a TV documentary called Z Channel, A Magnificent Obsession.
Oh, well, sorry to this man.
So I had that correction in there live.
You mentioned Michael Kelly, and you know I love Doug Stamper from House of Cards.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Michael Kelly is a little snack in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I actually liked him more than Melville Poupeau.
Oh.
But he has a one scene where
they're in a bakery.
They're in a bakery, and Parker is kissing Melville when Michael Kelly walks up like, hey, girl, long time no see. I'm back in town. I'm going to call you. And she looks so freaked
Well, because clearly it's like a past relationship and or hookup.
But Michael's being very, like, mature about it. And he acknowledges Melville like, hey, man, I'm Michael, blah, blah, blah. And then he says, all right, well, you have my number, hit me up, bye. And so they go to sit down, and Parker, in her nervous, like, anxiety, this bitch orders like she orders like a bunch of cookies
and cannolis.
And cannolis.
They have two huge plates of shit. You could not, they're both skinny mini.
And they're both thin people.
They would not eat those. And she loses it.
She has a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where Melville's character really shows that he's patient with her and caring, because he takes her home, and then she grabs her pills, and he kind of gets concerned, and she screams at him like, I'm not going to kill myself. I'm just going to take one. And so he waits with her and then stays. And the next day, that's when he says, well, I'm going back to Paris. You want to go? But she says no, and then she ends up going on a double date with this architect. That was painful.
Yes. Well, she's such a bad... I maybe relate to that too. It's like when I'm really not into something, like I can't even fake it. Like
when you're really... if Nick's not doing what he wants to do, it's like being with a 12-year-old. Like a bratty 12-year-old who's just on his phone, ignoring everyone. Don't make him think that he tolerates everything but the worst. No, it's the opposite.
I've gotten better.
He's only tolerable when he's getting his ideal scenario. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was pretty. I mean, it was kind of uncomfortable.
It was, but it was funny.
Like, damn, bitch, this poor man. He's just trying to. Anyway, so right after that, she's at work, and it looks like maybe the hotel manager approaches her, like, "Hey, how are the company picnic plans going?" I don't know. I haven't started. And that man goes off. Like, what's up with you lately? You were always so reliable, and now it's like, I don't know what's going on. And she goes, I can't do this anymore. And this lady quits. And then a scene that I thought was quite touching is she's walking down the street after she's quit, clearly upset. Mm-hmm. And she passes like a astrologer, tarot card reading place. Mm-hmm. And the astrologer comes out, or the psychic, and says like, hey, I'm getting a vision of you. And Parker turns around like, yeah, sure. And the lady says, your father, he's speaking to me. He knows you're lonely and he wants me to help you. And then Parker starts crying. Mm-hmm. And then we immediately cut to Parker and her homegirl at a nail salon. And the way Parker's explaining what she did, it's all, I think there's just like the perfect amount of comedy.
Yes.
Because it's not too heavy that it doesn't feel like sincere.
She's like, you went to a witch doctor? How much you pay her? And Parker's like, I don't want to talk about it.
I want to talk about it.
The psychic was played by a notable character actor, Phyllis Somerville. I don't know if you remember her from Stoker. No. Kind of had a problem. She's dead now. But you've seen her face and things. But yeah, that was a touching moment. But and it made it, that's why psychics kind of operate on a similar, there was just an A24 doc about them. I'm forgetting the name. Operate a same kind of wavelength as therapists. Like they're a conduit for someone to potentially cathartically express what's on their mind.
What is the best friend's name?
Audrey, played by Drea DiMatteo, who's most famous for The Sopranos. Contemporary, she's got a lot of negative press for being an anti-vaxxer and a Trump supporter, and I believe maybe was on OnlyFans.
Oh,
She's
that's
had an
quite the journey.
interesting trajectory.
Anyway, she's a good friend.
She is a good friend.
Because she's like, bitch, we need to get you to Paris so you can find Melville. But we understand that her husband, Mark, is the one who has the money.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like she doesn't work and doesn't have access to all the money. So she can't really like ball out and like, fly first class to Paris with her friend. So she comes up with some scheme to like deliver packages, which is so sketchy.
Yes.
And we never learn what it was or who sent them.
Mm-hmm.
But basically they have to like hand deliver these packages, one of which we find out is like a box full of money.
Yeah.
So it's real sketchy. But because they're doing this, they basically get like a free trip to Paris.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how her homegirl gets her there. But I thought that was really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I did think a funny moment is on the cab ride. Once they land in Paris, they hop in a cab and they have no plans. So they're like telling the cab driver, can you take us to an affordable hotel in the city center?
Mm-hmm.
And this man's, English is not his first language. So he, as the ladies are leaving with their luggage, he says, I hope you find happiness. But the way he says it with his French accent, it sounds like, I hope you find penis.
A penis.
Like a penis.
Mm-hmm.
And they really think that's what he said. I thought that was funny.
I remember Robin Williams having a bit about that too. Anyway.
But we see Parker, well, her friend goes to deliver a package to this man. And the man, he opens it in front of her and it's a box full of money. And he's clearly hitting on her and asks her out to lunch. And that scene is important because Parker's friend is not fully happy in her marriage.
Mm-hmm.
She feels like her husband's changed now that they're married.
Mm-hmm.
Like he used to not care about status and things, and now he's fully into it.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't like that. So she seems to find interest in this man. And then Parker goes to deliver this package to this older woman played by
Bernadette Lafont.
And this woman appears to be confused because she thinks Parker's her granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
But that scene's also important because she thinks she's her granddaughter. So she's talking to her about like marriage and telling her like, don't think that it's too late for you to find what you want. And basically tells her like, you're from good people. So everything's going to work out for you, which seems like something that Parker needed to hear.
Mm-hmm.
But then the evening takes a turn when Parker realizes she does not have Melville's number. So that's when she stays the extra nights. And again, I really enjoyed the time in Paris. And I just really wish we would have gotten there sooner.
Sure.
In the ending, well, she, besides the really lovely scene with that older man, she also bumps into like this younger guy who says, hey, my buddies and I are having a coffee. You want to join us? And I think it's meant to show that she's kind of coming out of her shell.
Yes.
So she agrees to go. And those guys end up being really nice.
Mm-hmm. And she's the one throwing digs. She's throwing shade at them.
Yeah, she's being kind of awkward and they're just like rolling with
like,
it.
Are all men French like attentive like dogs? And I heard it's because of the French mothers and the food.
Yeah, like damn,
wow.
girl. But yeah, I really would have loved for her to have like a series of experiences in Paris that show her that there is possibility for her to craft a life she really wants. But the ending, it's very predictable that she's going to find Melville.
But it's very romantic.
It is, but it's like they really wait till the last minute. Like, on the train home.
They do, but I love how he pulls her off that train.
He snatches her off that train.
He's like, look, and he gets a beer. He's like, you need to tell me, like, how are you here? Because I feel like the opposite is the kind of like a passive opposite is much easier to happen because people are so afraid of rejection. And it's like, it's like these people almost needed this language barrier for her to, again, I think she was forced to have to explain herself better.
So that's what you think broken English is about?
I think so, because he's like when she's asking about what his hangups are, and he's like, what do you mean hangups? Like, what do you... Like, I think when being forced to present real world examples, she realizes how ridiculous some of the shit she's holding on to seems.
Yeah.
And when, like on the train, like it's almost stifling. Like, would somebody say something because it's so awkward and she's not offering up information? So it's like he has to take her to a new space to be like, look, tell me why you're here.
But he has this, I mean, he's almost too good to be true that he's so patient with her and
That's
so
true, but
interested.
we've met people that are couples that are like, oh, it took it took someone taking the time to deal with that business.
Damn.
But that's what we all need.
I know you're not talking about me.
No, but we are not different or better than anyone in that we had to.
Wait, are you sure about that? I'm just kidding.
We had to realize that there were things we'd have to be patient with for each other to, help.
Did we both realize that?
Yeah.
Oh.
I know you don't want
Interesting.
you want me putting your business out on this recording to remind you, but okay, sure.
What else would you like to say about Broken English?
That's it. Clearly, I love this film more than you will, and I always will. But if you haven't seen Broken English and you love Parker Posey, please do yourself a favor as you wait for the next many episodes of White Lotus season 3 to unfold.
Well, I would also recommend it. What would you give Broken English?
I give it a 4.
Wow.
Yeah, I love it, and I was so gladdened rewatching it after this many years, and I think she's so beautiful in it and captivating, and yeah, I love it.
Well, after talking about it for 30 plus minutes, I would give it 3.5 out of 5. I think it's very good. I would very much recommend it. I would definitely watch it again. All right. So this coming week, there's a lot going on, but I won't be around for it. So
okay.
I know we have one review for sure.
I think we only have one review this week,
which is for a movie called Gazer.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be confused.
Although we might have time to do the Minecraft movie when you get back, but that would be the end of week.
You mean like I'd have to go to a theater?
Yes, sir.
Girl, bye. Minecraft, the video game?
I thought you liked Jason Momoa.
Not enough to go see a.
Okay, well, never
Is
mind.
it a cartoon?
No, it's a live action. Haven't you seen all the ads everywhere?
No.
We went to dinner tonight and watched like 6 ads. Like there's
Where?
Billboards everywhere. It's Jason Momoa.
I'm focused on operating a motor vehicle.
Okay.
I don't pay attention to movie billboards.
See, these is no accountability.
Oh yeah, I have no interest in watching Minecraft.
Okay, all right.
But if someone wants to pay us to watch it, I might.
Oh man.
But yeah, we have that. Are you reading anything?
I still Clarice Lispector. I paused it to read the Maria Schneider thing, and then
Hello, Clarice.
Yes, I thought I'd have more time to read this week. I did not.
Pupa.
A pupa. He's a pupa. A Propylon Buffalo Bill.
Do you have anything else you want to say?
No.
All right. Ta-ta.